Hi everyone, this is Erica Sabo. Welcome to another episode of My Bit. Hey everyone, so a little while ago I did my top 5 JRPGs on the PS3. Now one of my other favorite systems, like awesome systems out there, is the PSP. I love the PSP and I think it had a lot of really amazing JRPGs on it. Now JRPGs are like my favorite genre ever. If you know me, you know I love JRPGs. And yeah, so I figure, you know what, why not make a list, right? So let's get started with my top 5 JRPGs on the PSP. So I'm going to start things off with my honorable mentions. First off is Valkyria Chronicles 2. Now while this is an amazing game, and it's really great that it's portable this time around, I would have really loved to see a console release, to be honest, like the original Valkyria Chronicles was. Valkyria Chronicles I actually mentioned already in my top 5 JRPGs on the PS3. Really great game. It did, in my mind, it outshined Valkyria Chronicles 2. Despite this being an amazing game, there were just a lot of other games that I had to choose from my top 5, and I do feel bad about this, but that's why this is part of my honorable mention, because it's still a very important game, very important series you need to check out, and it's awesome. It's awesome, so do give it a shot. My next game in my honorable mentions is one I actually don't own, and that's part of why it's part of my honorable mentions. The game is Persona 2 Innocent Sin. Now, I don't have Innocent Sin. I actually have Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, which is basically just part of the same story, and it's part of the same game. So, you know, it's funny. It's like I could say I played it technically, but I technically didn't at the same time. So unfortunately I can't recommend that port. But if you do have a PS1 and you're looking for an awesome JRPG, this very early edition in the Persona series is awesome. It's awesome. It's one of my favorites actually, and I really like some of the newer Personas, which I will get to later. So yeah, I mean, you know, check it out. Maybe check out the port too. Let me know how it is. If you have it, let me know. Number 5 on my list of top JRPGs on the PSP goes out to Jeanne d'Arc. Jeanne d'Arc is a really awesome strategy RPG by level 5, and it is hella hard. I think it's hella hard, so it's not exactly the most accessible one, hence its place on my list, but it is a very engaging game. It has a very engaging story and has some really interesting characters in it as well. So if you do like strategy RPGs, if you're interested in trying something new, if you're interested in being challenged, this is definitely the game to check out. I highly recommend it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Please do. Number 4 of my top JRPGs goes out to Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. You know, it's really funny with Final Fantasy VII because while it was a fan favorite all around, it wasn't one of my favorite Final Fantasies. I liked it, but it didn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. I felt like it could have been part of a whole other series altogether. When I'm playing these games, I'm looking for fantasy, hence why I really loved Final Fantasy IX. But when playing this game gave me all the backstory I wanted that I didn't get to have in Final Fantasy VII. To be honest, I really like Zack a lot, and I felt bad that basically Cloud was just taking over his whole life. Spoilers, I'm sorry, but you know, I feel like he needed a bit of limelight, and you only got a little glimpse of him. I particularly did not like Cloud. I did not like him. He had no identity, and I know that was part of the story and all, but you know, Zack was a really badass guy, and I really wanted to find out more about him and who he was, and you really got a lot of that backstory in this game. It has a really cool battle system to it, and it pieces together things that you weren't able to initially, and I mean, the graphics at the time were really great on this game, especially for a portable game. I really enjoyed it, If you liked Final Fantasy VII, or if you weren't so sure if you liked Final Fantasy VII, but you wanted a bit more closure in certain aspects, this is definitely the game for you. Number 3 on the top JRPGs on the PSP goes out to Lunar Silver Star Harmony. Now this is a port and kind of a remake of Lunar Silver Star Story, which I got over there, and it is an amazing game if you're looking for a very kind of simple-minded traditional JRPG. It's very, very traditional, and it can be kind of boring, but it's kind of more of a sentimental pick for me than anything else. Now in this game, really the biggest thing is the visuals. The visuals and how it being revamped, and it just looks colorful and beautiful and all that good stuff. So if you are a diehard fan of the Lunar series, I definitely recommend this. If you're not, I don't know if it would even be on this list. It might be, it might not, but it's kind of ho-hum. You know, I'm kind of surprised it didn't come out with Lunar 2 Eternal Blue on the PSP, because I felt like that was a better game overall. But this one did really hit it off, and it really started things off in a really beautiful, sweet, simple way. No big surprises here, but it's a really nice game, and it's got a really nice collector's edition too if you happen to find one of these. So yeah, it might not be everybody's pick, but it's my pick because yeah, memories. Number 2 on my top JRPGs on the PSP goes out to Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3 Portable, which I only have a review unit for, and it's probably the ugliest review unit I've ever had. Yeah, sample disc only, blah blah. But it works, so I play this version. I do not actually have a version of the game, which is kind of sad. I have the original Persona 3 on the PlayStation 2 and absolutely love this game. This game really hit it off in the Persona series, and it really changed things for the series as well. It changed things in terms of graphics and accessibility, and it had that dating simulation genre incorporated into it as well, and I really like that a lot. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of a groundbreaking game when you think about it. It's not for everybody. It's kind of a dungeon crawler, and that's not always very accessible. It's a pretty challenging game, and it's more for hardcore fans, but it's such, like I said before, it's such a groundbreaking game, and it's changed so much in the Persona series. And I think that the way that Atlas thinks of modernizing their JRPGs. So yeah, I mean, if you happen to find a copy of the game, please get it. I have to go look for it. All these games are starting to get really hard to find, so I gotta hustle. On this, but this is definitely, for me, it's very high on the list. I had to be where it is now because it's so important, and I think that you should definitely check it out too if you haven't already. Now the moment of truth. My number 1 JRPG on the PSP goes out to The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. This is a beautiful game. This is like, all the feels. All the feels. This game is, you know, pretty simple and pretty standard in gameplay, and the story isn't even all that deep, but it's very charming. It has this otherworldly charm that I don't get often enough, and considering how simple the graphics look, I think it's really amazing that a game can do that to me, and I think it's amazing when any game can do that to me, regardless of the genre. This game had some really intriguing characters in it, and it was just a really sweet coming-of-age story. It put some tears to my eyes a couple times. Some parts in the game can be very cumbersome. This is one of those games where if you want to get everything in it, you kind of have to know exactly where you're going and what you're doing at every given time, which can be a huge bummer and can really, kind of put you off from the overall experience. But for me, it didn't really do that. And I don't know, because I like doing that kind of stuff, so maybe that's why, but I loved it. I loved this game so much, and I really wish that there were more that would come out here in North America for The Legend of Heroes. I really do, because this is a really great game, and if you haven't already checked it out, please do. It's it's a pretty one, and it's got a lot of really cool stuff in the in this version, the premium edition. So I wholeheartedly recommend this one. Simple in scope, but very beautiful experience, and I think you'll feel the same way too. So I hope you enjoyed my picks. Now I'm really interested, what are your top 5 JRPGs on the PSP, including honorable mentions? Please include those. Yeah, I think you kind of owe it to the PSP because it's totally being overshadowed by the Vita right now, even though the Vita isn't coming out with a whole lot of games. But the PSP was such a revolutionary handheld, and I think it was just as important as the DS at the time as well. And yeah, it's just kind of cool looking too when you think about it. It had a lot of amazing games though, so please let me know in the comments below. Nummy Swan orders it. Yes, she's super cute, super cute. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in again soon. Alright, peace.